Sounds like a
Alright ladies and gentlemen, once again we're at GetintheMix in Colchester and I am speaking to, what's your name sir?
My name's James, I'm one of the sales department staff here at GetintheMix. I'm here today to talk to you about some of the Pioneer DMX products that they've just brought out, the RB-DMX1 in particular.
Great, okay, so very quickly as well, like me, if you're a bit of a DMX noob, you don't really like to use it, you're very scared, you don't want to just sort of set all the presets and mess around. What Pioneer have done is they've taken away all the hard work, they've done that, and they've given you the easy work. So you're about to show us exactly what the easy work is. Before we do that though, the track we're listening to, who's it by and what's it called?
It's by an artist called Next. It's an unreleased tune called Aggression, coming out sometime this year. He's one of the guys in our prep room, a great guy and a great producer, and he's kindly given us permission to use his track for this demonstration video.
Right, so come over here, let's have a look.
So, what we're going to be doing today is looking at Pioneer and their Rekordbox software. Now what Pioneer have done is they've created a new lighting module of the software. Now this lighting module has a pre-existing database in it full of hundreds of thousands of lights made by all sorts of manufacturers. Everything from your big lights from like Chauvet and Atomic to tiny little Chinese lights that nobody's ever heard of. All you've got to do is look through these manufacturer lists here. So for instance, we're going to go for a big one, we'll go for Chauvet. You find Chauvet in the list, SCH we're looking for, CH, missed it. There we go, Chauvet. And here we have a full list of all the currently supported lights by Chauvet. Now if your light's not in the database, don't fear. All you've got to do is put a submission into Pioneer. We put one in a week and a half ago for this slimline RGB. And they respond within, well, for us it took a week and a half and the light was added to the database.
That's pretty good.
All they do is they look at the light, they analyze what the different channels are. For those of you that don't understand, DMX control relies on various different channels to control different parameters of your light, whether that be hue colors, speed, strobes, all sorts of parameters. They then map these channels out inside their software. Now setting it up is as simple as dragging the selected light onto the DMX address that you want to set. So in this case, I'll drop that color light onto DMX 332. Now if I program that corresponding light with the menu that was on the back to be the corresponding address, when I click on that light, if it's being controlled, it will turn on. So for example here, I've clicked on the hex and the hex turns on, which means the software has full control.
So that is a question I wanted to ask you. On the back of the light then, you need to go into DMX mode and you need to go to the specified channels that are on the software.
So all it is the way DMX work, you press menu, all these lights have a pretty standard setup in terms of menu. It's just mode, down, up and enter. And we click mode until it comes on to the address section, which is ADDRS, and then it asks you to just type a number in. We go up until we hit the number that is represented on this graph, and press enter.
Got you.
That's the extent of what you've got to do on the light. You then don't have to touch that light again.
Right.
The rest of it is all in the software. Now once I've loaded all the lights that I want to into the software, down the side here we have a list of all the lights that we've included, and I just determine and just tell them what they are. So for instance, I've got 4 Parcan lights here, par 1 to 4, and 4 moving heads, par 1 to moving head 1 to 4.
Yeah.
That's represented by these 4 Parcans and 4 moving heads around us here. Once we've addressed all those out, which I've done already, we can save that as a venue. Now a great little feature Rekordbox have included in this is the ability to do multiple venues. So maybe you're a mobile DJ that often does a regular gig at one club. You've got a venue set up for that club. You can recall it every time you come back. Maybe you've got a standard setup that you use for large venues when you do a wedding. You've got that pre-set up. The same for small, as many as you like, and you're not limited by a certain amount.
Yeah, speaker manufacturers have done that as well, haven't they? For,
presets for different rooms, and exactly. So that allows you to save that down. So that's the great feature. From this we move on to what's called the macro editor, and here we click on the browser and we have all our tracks that we've already got in Rekordbox, all organised into whatever playlists you might have organised those into. We highlight a track, we right click and we click analyze track. And it's as simple as asking Rekordbox to analyze for the phrase.
Right.
Now, I've already analyzed the track that we're going to be looking at today, but for argument's sake, I'll just analyze that and we'll see how quick that goes through. It's done. And that's it. And you can batch do this, so we can select an entire playlist of hundreds of thousands of songs.
And go to bed.
Click to analyze them, go to sleep, wake up in the morning, it'll be done. Happy days. Now, when it loads a song in, like here, we've got a Prodigy song here, it automatically breaks it down into what we call phrases. Now, phrases are essentially different sections of a song, whether this be a chorus, a verse, a breakdown, an intro, whatever.
And it could be 4 bars, it could be 8 bars, it could be 16.
And it pre-analyzes these songs and looks and determines what the best way to break it down is, based on things like frequency disbursement, transients, loudness, and various different other things that from the waveform and the information it gathers. Now it breaking it down here already into sections. Now what we can do is it's already decided that the mood of this track is a mid-level mood. So it's kind of in referral to energy level. So a really high octane drum and bass dance song would come up as high. A really slow wedding dance song will come up as low. Then from that point I can select, do I want it to be cool, which is kind of a lot of blue lighting? Do I want it to be natural, which is a lot of yellow and green lighting? Do I want it to be hot, which is a lot of red? Do I want it to be vivid, which is kind of a really broad spectrum of colours? Do I want it to be club style, in which case it would do a lot of movement and different types? We're then able to select that standard setting, and that's it. It saves it down, and every time I recall that track, it's going to use that lighting. Now, for those of us that don't want to go to too much detail, that's the extent of what you have to do inside the software.
So that's it. So
that's quite
the software then will do all the movements for you, everything
that's
based
exactly
on the, as you say, the energy of this track,
and the mood and the feel.
Right, gotcha.
And the presets it's used are available here in this mapping section. Maybe I don't quite like the preset that comes up for Club 1 and I want to change that to just be set into specifically something I like.
Yeah.
I can simply drag this into there, and now for every preset that uses that theme, it's replaced that section with a section that I like.
Yeah, I very quickly want to say is normally with DMX, when you get the old school DMX controllers, you am I right in saying here as well? I'm pretty sure, but you preset a certain move, and then for it to do another move, you've got to set up another move, and then another one, another one.
For every single individual movement you want on your light, you're going to have to pre-program using the different channel faders that control different axes and brightness of the lights, control and program that moving. And there are software versions of DMX that allow it to be a little bit more visceral and you can view it, but from old school conventional controllers, it's quite a difficult thing, which is why the lighting
and it's time consuming.
Yeah, of course, and that's why lighting guys at big events are paid so well and get so little sleep, is because they're up all night programming these lights to no end. You know, every time we do a gig, the light programmer at one of the venues I worked at, he'd be up all day for the day before.
Yeah, but do you think they get a bit peed off now with software like this?
Well, it's never going to replace them. There's nothing that's ever going to beat having full control over every potential possible scenario. Just takes training.
Yeah, you see, I always thought as well that when you buy, for example, you know, this light up here or a basic moving head, you had 3 ways of using it. It was pretty much sound to light. If you had 1 or 2, it was master slave, and then it was DMX. But I can see what this has done. It's got in between the sound to light and DMX.
That's exactly it. So for sound to light, sound to light's a great function. I mean, it bases what the lights are going to do off transients and sound. If there's no sound, it will probably stop doing much. If there's a lot of high energy, it will move around quite a bit. But it has its limitations. It doesn't know where you are in a song. It doesn't have set sections. It just does its thing. It chugs along, and it has a job and it does it, but it's not amazing. But for a lot of mobile DJs out there, that's the extent of what they want to do with their lights, because it's so daunting doing control in proper detail in terms of on a controller or in the software.
But what you've done, what you've shown is, for example, when you're analysing tracks in Rekordbox, you know, you can, by clicking another icon, analyse it for a lighting show. Yeah, so I get it completely. Great.
Another great feature, and those of us that want to go a little bit further, maybe I want a bit more control, is you can go into the macro editor for each of these scenes or songs.
Yes.
And I can look at it almost like it's a DAW, so like a digital audio workstation. If I was a producer, I might be used to this kind of linear time frame in terms of using effects and stuff. I could then maybe highlight a section. So we're looking at a fusion spot here. I could highlight this and tell it maybe that I want the color transition, blue here, how much green I want, how much red I want, or whatever, and set a specific color transition. Now that color transition's been implemented.
Right.
I control how bright that is with the light. It's a simple job of clicking where I want it and moving it around.
Yeah, okay.
If I wanted to, for instance, put a strobe on, I click the strobe button. I tell it, oh, how much intensity do I want? I want to go from 28% to 90% strobe. I click OK. That's it. That light is now going to strobe. I can save that. I can copy and paste that to each of the lights that I want to do something similar. And I save that down, and now that is forever saved in that track. Every time we recall it, it's going to do it again.
It's a bit like, say using Ableton, you know, and you've got that kick.
Yeah.
You can change the parameter of just that one kick, and once you've done that, again, like you said, copy and paste.
Do it again, and it's a great feature. So maybe we should have a little look at it in action.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so once you've done the program inside of it that you wanted to, as far into it as you wanted to go, and you've set up all your fixtures, it is simply a case of heading back to performance mode. Lots of you that use Rekordbox DJ already will be familiar with this. It's just the standard 2-deck layout.
Yep.
Now, if we head to the track that we've got permission to use, we'll pop that on there. We can see here it's loaded all these different lights in here. Now I can see here that it's a bit purpley. I'm not a big fan of a lot of purple, and I want for the drop to it be a little bit more vivid. So I can right click for an instant change and just tell it I want a little bit more movement here. So I'll click on that scene. I much prefer the look of that scene. There's a few more moving heads in there.
Got you.
Same to that one. I can do this while the track's playing. I can do this in the middle of a scene.
That's great.
Absolutely fine. So it does give you the ability to, on the fly,
yes.
You know, if I'm at the gig and it's gone off, or it's not quite what I want, or it's not, I can make a change quickly and easily. I don't have to navigate all the way back to that program. I don't have to rely on another person on the other side of the room.
You're there doing it.
I can do it, and it's nice and easy.
Great.
So we'll play this track, and we'll get a bit of volume, and we'll turn the lights on for it.
Can we move out the way?
When it comes to drugs and alcohol.
So this section's come in, moving heads will start to go around. It's still an intro, it's still early days, we don't want too much energy going on, we just want it to slowly build up.
Yeah, and also I'd like to say that, you know, these definitely aren't cheap and cheerful lights, but they're not high end. So what you're doing is you're able to get relatively inexpensive lights looking
like a bit more expensive. You get the most from a small amount. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Another great feature is that they're also linked to hot cues. So where I might jump around in a track, obviously we're all familiar with hot cues. Maybe I want a hot cue for the intro, one for the breakdown and one for the drop. So that at the press of a button, I'm able to just jump to another section. So that every time I hit this one, it's just a little drum, and we can see that this theme is blue, and so the lights are coming up blue. When I hit this one for the drop, they go into drop mode. They know the drops happen. They've now got a little bit more exciting or a little bit more intense.
Yeah. Also, at the moment, you're using an external piece of hardware.
So this is the XP1, but those what I've just done there can be mapped onto any of the hot cues on any of the controllers.
That's it. So basically, if you've got, for example, like myself, an RX2, and you've got your hot cues, you can use those to do exactly the same instead of having to get an external piece of kit.
And we can go one step further as well. On here, if we just pause this for a second and we'll go back to the screen.
Yep.
In Rekordbox they have this beautiful little function called the pad editor.
Okay.
Now for any pad you've got plugged in, be it the one on your controller, be it an external pad like this, it gives you full control over what every single one of those pads will do. Now the standard is set up for hot cues, I think beat jump, a sampler, and something else. Now I don't ever use beat jump. Beat jump is horrible.
Same here. I have, but really
it doesn't really
just
do
much.
It like jumps around a little bit. It's not great. It's not an amazing function. So what I will do is I'll replace out that beat jump for a lighting function, and I can set here different scenes, themes, functions, colors, strobes, lightings off. And then as soon as I exit out, that's all saved down. So now when I click on beat jump here, I've got full control over the lights. I don't know if we can see the lights here, but if I press this button, they all go red.
Yeah, I got you.
If I press this button, they all go green. If I press this one, they all go blue. They're still going to continue doing the theme and the movement that they've been programmed to do, but we've got control over the colours of the lights. We've got white there.
And instead of it, say, coming in at the drop, you can bring it in whenever you want.
That's exactly. And so, whilst the track is playing again, if I was to launch that one off, if I press this one, they all turn off, back on the drop. And it's so it allows you to have more control and versatility, but simply from from the controller that you're already using. So if we bear with me 2 seconds, I'll run over here and grab.
Yeah. Also, the
DDJ400.
The only piece of hardware that you'll need is the RB-DMX1, and that is the hardware that comes with software. And it's very simple. It's just a case of XLR out of that into your first head, and then from there you daisy chain all the way along, and from the RB-DMX1 it's into the laptop or Mac.
And we can see here, this is the standard controller, this is the DDJ400, a nice controller for bedroom DJs, but all Pioneer controllers are a version of this. They get larger, they get more bops and whistles. We've got the pads already here. These pads we can map to do exactly what we've just done with that XP1, giving you full control over your lights without ever having to look at another bit of kit. Without having to look at the computer too much. You have the control, all right, it's a nice, but I want everything to go blue, I'll press that button. I want everything to go off with the drop, I'll press that button, it all drops down. I want everything to strobe, because it's a really, really intense bit, I'll press that button, it strobes. And it gives me that full control from the controller without having to take my concentration away from the mixing, without having to take my concentration away from the device, and without having to understand in depth the details and workings of a thing like a DMX controller or another piece of DMX software.
So again, if someone's watching this video, whether it be today, tomorrow, whenever, they can, of course, they can phone you up, speak to you, 100%. And then you can, you can
guide you through it. You can come down for a demo. We'll show you how it works. If you've got it and you just want to run through of how certain features work, you give us a ring 01206 885 010. Ask myself, James, or my colleague Adam, and we'll happily run you through any of these aspects. It's a great bit of kit, and we're really excited. I don't even own any lights, and it makes me want to go out and get some lights. Because I'm a club DJ. I rock up to a club with a USB in my headphones. That's it. But for those people that are mobile DJs and those that do have lights, it's an ideal bit of kit because the variation that it creates in contrast to a sound to light performance is unparalleled. You're not going to get the same type of interest and performance and continuity that you do from something like the Rekordbox RB-DMX1.
Great. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you are interested and like me, you're a mobile DJ who, sorry, it's master slave or sound to light, I've got to do it. I've got to, if anything, for myself. But if you're like me, let's take it to the next level, all right? So call GetintheMix.com, inquire about it, and it could maybe get your light show up to that next level. All right, thank you, practice and enjoy.